Hello YouTube! Today I'm making another very special recipe. I'm making Cinnabuns. These are so delicious. For the Cinnabuns recipe for the dough, I'm going to be using a cup of whole milk, 1/4 ounce packet of dry yeast, a 1/4 cup plus a 1/4 teaspoon of granulated sugar. I'm going to be using 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter that's melted, a large egg yolk, 1½ teaspoons of vanilla extract, 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and a ½ teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. What we're going to do is warm up the milk a little bit and put in the yeast. Then we're going to add the sugar and let that sit for 5 minutes. We're going to whisk in the melted butter, the egg yolk, and the vanilla after 5 minutes. Mix the dry ingredients and mix it all together. Knead the dough and let the dough balls sit covered for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So let me get started with all of that and I'll show you what it looks like. So first things first, we have to heat up our milk to about 100 degrees. So we're going to take our cup of milk, put it in this little saucepan, and heat it up until it's just basically steaming a really little bit. In the meantime, we're going to get our dry ingredients ready. We're going to take our flour and we are going to mix that with a 1/4 cup of sugar. Throw in the sugar to the flour and the salt and the nutmeg. We're going to whisk this around a little bit to get the flour aerated and mix with the nutmeg and the sugar. Basically all the dry ingredients while we're waiting for the milk to heat up. Now that the milk is warm enough, we're going to take it off the heat and we're going to add the yeast and the sugar without mixing it. And pour that into the milk. The remaining 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. Leave it for 5 minutes. It should get a little bit frothy. Whisk in the butter. Remember the 1/4 cup of melted butter. The egg yolk, which we have in here. And the vanilla extract. Pour that in and basically whisk it up with this little fork here. We're going to make a little well in the flour and get started with the dough. And pour in the yeast mixture into the center and just work this until it becomes all incorporated, all of the flour, and then we'll worry about kneading it. Now that we've got the dough basically at about this consistency, it's time to knead it. So we're going to put a nice generous amount of flour out on the counter and dump the dough down. Trying not to do that. Let's knead this. Cover our hands in the flour and get a good amount on the dough too, like so, and work it into a shape, basic solid shape at least, before we start kneading it. And anyway, let's just knead this out for about 7 minutes, until it's nice and workable. I'll show you what it looks like when we're done kneading it. Now we're just going to take a little bit of butter and pour it into the bottom of a clean bowl. Roll the flour up into a ball, like so. Put it in the butter. Get it wet on all sides, completely covered with the butter. And cover it and let it rise for 1 hour and 15 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to preheat the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 162 degrees Celsius. And put a nice towel on top and let it rise for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we're just going to punch it down like this, and we're going to roll it out. Get a nice amount of flour on the counter for dusting, and throw this dough down. We are going to roll it out into a rectangle that's about 9 inches by 13 inches. So pretty thin basically. We want to get the dough to about here. Really thin and you know, nice and long and rollable. And what we're going to do is we've mixed a half cup of granulated sugar with 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, and we have 3/4 of a cup of melted butter. So first things first, we're going to apply a little bit of the butter, a little bit at a time, like so, just to get the roll nice and sticky. We can brush this on, and then all we have to do is take the cinnamon mix and throw it on. Just distribute it evenly over the dough, leaving about an inch or so without any of the sugar or cinnamon. Okay, now that we've got all the cinnamon, sugar, and butter on, we are going to try to wrap this up as tight as we can. So basically fold the first part of the edge over like this, so we can get a good tight roll going. If we have to get our fingers in there and get them a little dirty, it's okay. We need to get this nice and tight. Now that we've got ourselves a nice log like this, we want to seal the ends. So pinch, even though there's some cinnamon sugar running out, pinch the ends together. And same thing for the ends. So let's cut it into a bunch of rolls, maybe about 1.5 inches thick each one. And now we want to lay this on a greased baking dish. So we're going to take a baking dish, butter it up, and put them in there. We're going to put the individual buns in there. It's okay if they're touching. Now that we've got the buns in the pan, we're going to cover it up one more time and let that rise for about 40 minutes. So the Cinnabuns are done rising completely, and we're going to put it in the oven. Like I said before, 162 degrees Celsius or 325 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to put it in the preheated oven for about 35 minutes and see how those come out. The cinnamon buns are done. We are going to take them out of the oven. Oh, wow. And look at this. Here they are. And they look wonderful. So we're going to put them here to rest a little bit while we make our frosting. Let me show you how we're going to make the frosting. In this mixing bowl, we are going to throw in 2 cups of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar. We're going to throw in 4 more tablespoons, 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, and 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream. Just throw it in there and start mixing this up. This is like sinfully decadent. These are like sinful Cinnabuns. The buns have cooled down for about 15 minutes. This is the best part. We're just going to take the icing and pour it, not all of it probably, because it's very rich, but a lot of it, over the top of these Cinnabuns, and just slather it in. Just make sure every part of these Cinnabuns are touched with this rich, rich icing. Yeah, there's spill off, but it's delicious spill off. Move it around. Get it covered. Same thing for this corner. Get this frosting in there. Yeah, because this is healthy. This is like diet food. Oh man. And here we've got ourselves some Cinnabuns. So I'm gonna cut one out and put it on a plate and show you guys what I'm dealing with here. So I think that what I'm gonna do is just take it out with a spoon. Why not? Let's get it down to the bottom and work this guy out. Oh yeah, there we go. Here is my Cinnabun. Look at this. Look how beautiful and wonderful this looks. Anyway, I'm going to, you know, eat it. Why not? Just eat it. Look at this. You pull it apart like this. You'll take a bite. And you can really unravel it. Just taking little pieces off at a time and dipping in it. in the icing that's on the top. Well, like this. These are really, really rich and delicious, but it's really, really good. So, thank you guys for watching. These are my Cinnabuns. I'm sorry I can't, invite you guys over. But it is really, really delicious. We got a huge mess in the kitchen. But was it worth it? Definitely. So, thank you guys for watching again. My Cinnabuns recipe, they are wonderful. I'm going to have like 10 more of these and call it a night. Thank you guys for watching now. Oh, and here they are. Just one last look. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.